For this video, this is my second video, and I just like to point some facts out. I'm just tired of listening to everybody just go on and on and on, and there's so many hypocrites out there right now, and it's just, everyone cries our government's corrupt, and our government's this, and our government's that, and our government's doing this to you, to me, and this government's doing this to that person, but we're all hypocrites, to be honest with you. Because the Second Amendment that everybody's crying about right now, it protects, in there it says that gun rights should not be infringed upon, no matter what. Congress has no right, the government has no right, and it clearly states that if the government does try to infringe upon it, it's our duty to stand up against the government. But there's over a couple million people here in the United States are law-abiding citizens that have made mistakes in the past and have had their gun rights taken away from them. And I hear a lot of Americans today that hide behind the Second Amendment, and they say they have the right to bear arms and all this, and they're right with the government saying that, yeah, these people should not be able to own firearms. Well, who are you to say they can't? I mean, by you telling these people that they cannot own firearms, you yourself are rewriting the Constitution of the United States, the Second Amendment, that says it shall not be infringed upon. Nowhere does it say that these people that have made mistakes in the past and have learned from them and have gone on to live, productive lives in society. It doesn't say that these people should have lost their rights. It doesn't. And yet you sit back and you say that these people have no rights to own firearms. So you're no better than the government telling these people that they have no right. You're writing the Constitution, you're rewriting the Constitution to fit your needs. It's okay for you to own a firearm and defend your family because you think in your mind you've never committed a crime or done something wrong, where you're wrong. Every American citizen has committed a crime in one time in their life. Lying on an application to buy a car to get the loan is a crime. Lying on an application for, fibbing on how much you make to buy a home is a crime. Lying on your taxes, not reporting money that you made to the IRS is a crime. Our president is openly admits to sniffing coke. That's a crime, but yet he has full access to nuclear warheads. So don't sit here and think that you're better than a person that committed a crime in the past and has learned from it and has not done anything since. You're no better than they are. The only difference between you and them is they got caught and you haven't. That's about it. So ask yourself, why are you allowed to own a firearm but this person's not? Even though that they've gone 5, 10, 15, 20 years without committing a crime. And they're not even, in half of the states, they're not even allowed to vote. But it's funny, they're not allowed to vote. They're not allowed to own firearms. They lose their right to refuse search and seizure on their homes, or on their vehicles when they're pulled over. Yet the government takes taxes from them. I mean, why should they pay taxes if they have no rights in this country? Why should they? It doesn't make sense. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not for gang members and drug cartels and stuff like that working in the states to own and possess firearms. I think if someone has been labeled a gang member and has been validated, they should lose their gun rights, and they should be labeled as a terrorist because they go out every day looking to do harm to people. If you walk in their neighborhood, they're going to do harm to you. So, they're out hunting human people, and that's a different. They shouldn't have their gun rights restored. They should be labeled terrorist, and that's it. But I'm talking about people that have had an argument with their wife didn't even hit her, or her didn't hit him, just an argument, a verbal argument, and the cops show up because the neighbors called. They're making a little bit too much noise. And under, the law of the police officers, if they're called, somebody's going to jail, regardless if someone was hit or not. It's just someone's going to jail. Now, one of those people are going to lose their gun rights, and it's not even a felony, it's a misdemeanor. If you hold a marijuana card, if you openly admit to smoking marijuana and you've registered for a marijuana card, you lose your gun rights to own a firearm in the United States. If you go and see a doctor for depression because you just feel depressed, it doesn't mean that you're going to go out and hurt anybody. You just feel depressed and you want to talk to somebody. Well, you lose your gun rights because now you're considered mentally ill. And people that have just, had a bad time, wrote a bad check, times are tough sometimes, and people make mistakes and they lose their gun rights. There's a lot of non-violent felons out there that they'll never have their gun rights restored back to them. They can't defend their family. They have, they don't have the right to. And if they marry someone that's a non-felon, or they marry someone that is a felon, they lose their gun rights. If you marry, a felon, or a non-felon marries a felon, well, either way, okay, if someone in the household is a felon, the other person that lives in the household loses their constitutional rights to own firearms, because it's actually a crime to give a felon access to a firearm. So even though you're a law-abiding citizen, but you happen to fall in love and marry a felon, you can't own a firearm anymore, because you could go to jail for giving that person access to it. So they'll go to jail for having access to the firearm, and you'll go to jail for just having it in that, bringing it into the house where a felon lives. So my point is, on this whole video, is you can't, you're a hypocrite if you're going to sit here and say that you have the right to bear arms when this person doesn't, and it clearly states in the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed upon, which means government, state, and any other entity in the government, they can't sit here and take that right from that person. I don't care what the courts have said. I don't care what the states have said. Under the Constitution of the United States, this person still holds the right to defend their family. And that's my point. You can't sit here and just say you have the rights and they don't. And while they're paying taxes, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm just tired of listening to all this rant and rave about criminals. We need our guns because criminals have guns. Criminals can go out and get guns. Yeah, criminals can go get guns. Anybody could get a gun. It's not hard to get a gun. It's very easy. You can go on Backpage, you can go on Craigslist and buy a gun, and they don't do background checks. You just show your driver's license and your ID, and the person will sell to you. So it's very easy to get one. I think it'd be smart to allow these people to have their firearms rights returned to them, and then that way the police would know if they have firearms or not, instead of them just going on Backpage and getting them illegally and just keeping them in their house, in case that day ever comes where they need to defend their family. They have it there. And and people are going to be like, well, all these mass shootings and killing and stuff like that. Well, the mass shootings weren't felons. They legally were able to own their firearms. So it doesn't, just by taking the rights from these people is not going to stop mass shootings. It's not going to stop murder. It's not, because majority of murders and mass shootings are committed by non-felons that legally obtain the firearms. And most shootings that happen are gangbangers killing gang members. And like I said, I don't think they should have firearms. But I think that people that have proven themselves, that have made mistakes in the past, should have their gun rights restored and should be protected under the Second Amendment, just like the rest of us. And that's just my whole point on this. I know I rambled on a little bit. So, if you like my video, you like it. If not, if you agree with me, you do. If you don't, I really don't care. This is my point, and me being American and protected under the Constitution of the United States, I have the right to express my feelings. Thank you. Bye.